We will move on to another type of functions which is called value returning functions. So what is this part? Well, for now what we were always doing it was void functions. So what is a void function? A void function basically does some action, some calculations, some operations, but then does not give us any value that any data that we can further work on. It just finishes that task and then we are done with it. So let me open my Python for that. Let's say I define a function in which we take the summation operation, which does an addition. So it takes one number and number two, and then we can find a result for it. Let's say it will do the summation operation. And then when we want to use this operation, so use this function, what we can do is, okay, we can call it like for some numbers, but then I need this result data. So what I can do is, well, I can print it here, of course. So when I do this, it will give me the data. But then what if I need this result? Maybe I would like to use it in some other way. Like, okay, I will calculate this data. It will give me like 7, and then I will use this sum in another operation. Maybe I would like to say that, okay, C is equal to this, or so. I would like to use this result value. This is my question. So what I can do is maybe I can, if I try to print result here, I'm getting an error. I will delete this part first. So I can maybe use this result. Well, I cannot. Why is that? Do you remember? It's a local variable. So this result, I would like to access it outside the function, but I cannot do it. So this is my main goal. I would like to access this data outside the function and use it. But I'm not able to use it because it's a local variable. So what should I do? How can I get this data? Well, in order to do this, we use these value returning functions. So basically, I will use this return. It's a keyword, which means I cannot use it as a variable name or a function name. And then I would like to return it, okay? So what is return like? This addition function takes some data, processes it, and then returns us as another data type. So then what will happen is now, what I can do is I can say now C is equal to add 3 plus 3 and 4, and then I can then print C. So and when I print this now, it will print 7. Because of this, I would like to make this more clear. Oh, I need of course 1 comma here. So now what I'm able to do is I'm able to extract that local data, local variable that is defined in function, and use it in another types. So this is called value returning functions. Basically, a function that returns some data. And this example does what I did in the example, so I'm skipping that. And these value returning functions can be used in many different purposes. Well, this code is not very readable maybe, so especially from the outside, but I will explain it from here. So what can I return? Can it be any number? No, it doesn't have to be. Well, I can say, let's say I would like to say get name, any whatever you would like to fill, but eventually you can return some name, some string here, or it can be, let's say that I would like to have a compare value, which takes 2 numbers, and then maybe I'll just return A is greater than B, so it will be either a true or false. Like, then I can use it here. Let's say my result will be is compare and 3 and 5, and then I will print this result, which is 3 and 5 as a string. I would like to write it. It will give me this result, which is, let's see, so it is false. So I can return Boolean data, I can return string data, numerical data, any type of data can be returned. And now the good thing here is when I'm using these functions, now I can treat them as an expression, as a data itself. What does it mean is, like, I can, for instance, I can use this add 3 and 4 plus add 4 and 6. So I use these two different functions in one expression. And then what it means is, well, do this operation, it will give me some data, which is 3 plus 4. And then do also this one, it will also give me this 4 plus 6. And then, so this is 10, this is 7, and then it will use their results for my final application, and then it will keep it in this variable. So I can also put them in my expressions, in my mathematical operations, and so on. Do you have any questions so far? All right. So in this example, for instance, what we are doing very quickly, in the main function, we, get regular price function. So for that one, we keep its data that it returns in this regular price variable. And when we go to that function, what it is doing is, it asks user an input, and then we convert it into float, and then we return that float variable. And also, then in the other one, we use this regular price minus discount. Discount is another function which takes another variable, and in that one it returns price times discount percentage. So this is also another part. What can I return? I say that I can return any data type, and also when I'm returning some data, it can be it doesn't have to be only a number or just a variable name. Just let's say that I have this function. It can return some very constant value like 5, or some number, some variable name as we have seen, or we can even return some expression. That is all possible. And so we can return actually anything that has some value, like an expression. We can return those things. Okay, this is a very scary code, and it's not readable outside, but it's not giving some. It's just one more example, so I'm leaving this for you to study. And in Python, a function can return multiple variables, multiple values. So now this is, for instance, it's not applicable in all languages. For instance, in Java you cannot do it. But this is one of the good features of Python. You can return multiple variables. What does it mean is, when I define a function, let's say I define a function in which, I'm asking that get name and age, in which we will ask a user to provide their name, and also and their age. So we will again ask it and convert it to integer. And then we would like to return both of them. So again, I will use this return keyword, and then I would like to return both of them. So what I will do is I will use them with a comma. So return name and age. So whatever I would like to return, I will put just one more comma, so I can return multiple values. Then how will I can use it? Well, when I call this function get name, now it returns me two values, name and age. So for that one, if I say a is equal to get name age, okay, which one is it? A, is it name or age or both? Well, what we will do is, since it returns me two values, I will write here two variables, a and b, and note that they are also separated by a comma. So what is a, what is b? Well, the first one is name that I return. So the first name that I wrote here will be name. A will be name, and b is the second one, so b will be age. So when I print those, then I can say a is equal to a, just to show what it means. B is equal to b. So now let's run this code. Oh. Yeah. All right. Let's run this code now. It asks me name, so I will write my name, and then I will write my age. Then, okay, so A will be my name and B will be the age. So we have also covered this. I think we have covered all things mentioned in this slide. Do you have any questions so far? All right. So to recap, we can return any data, and we can return even multiple data in Python. And we have also this non-value. What is this? Well, it means no value, basically. And why do we use it? Like, what does it mean to having a no value? Well, it is usually used to show that, okay, there is a problem in the program. Like, let's say that we define this divide function, which takes two numbers, num1 and num2, and then we would like to return their division, num1 divided by num2. But what if num2 is 0? Then I would try to attempt to divide by 0, which is mathematically undefined. So that I will not be able to do that. So then, but for some case, if num2 is given me 0, I shouldn't return a number. I should let the software developer know that, okay, there's a problem. Like, I shouldn't get 0. How can I get a 0 here? Like, either double check it, validate the input so that I shouldn't get a 0. I should tell this part. So how can I do it? Instead of trying to return num1 divided by 0, what I'll say is num2 is, if num2 is 0, return none, return no value, so that the software developer will know that, okay, there's a problem. I'm getting here no value, which shouldn't be, so that it will proceed. So this is, for those cases, we use none. And also, if I attempt to write something like this here, a is equal to print whatever it is. I forgot to put one more code. So I'm doing here a very weird statement, actually. I'm saying that a is equal to print something. Print function is a void function, which means it doesn't return any value. So what I'm doing here is actually meaningless to assign it. But then, okay, but it didn't even, it also didn't give me an error, so it executed. So then the question is, okay, what is the value of a then? Well, the value of a is also none. So a void function does not return anything. That's why if you attempt to do this kind of an assignment for any void function, then the value will be also none. So in short, for no value cases, we use this none non as a like we use this non keyword, non special value. Do you have any questions so far? All right. The another popular module in Python is math module. So this is especially useful for the engineering students because like in engineering formulas you need to write many very complex formulas that you take sinus, cosinus, whatever, all these different cases. So for those cases, okay, maybe you want to implement it. How can you implement sinus, cosinus, or how you can find those values? Well, you don't need to implement them. You just need to import math function, math module, as you can see here. If you just say import math, and then you can use all the functions that it provides, and it provides many of these like taking exponent, logarithm, sinus, square root, tangent, and so on and so. So for those functions, you don't need to re-implement it. You can just import it and then use it. For instance, in this example, we are asking user to enter a number. We convert it to float, and then we would like to take its square root. Okay, so for that one, we say math, which is our module name, dot sqrt. Sqrt stands for, it's the name of the function square root. It takes one number and then it returns the square root of it. So we keep it here and then we print it here. So this math module might be one of the most popularly used modules also for you because for the engineering students. And well, you might also say, okay, I would like to write my own library because let's say that you are taking a course in which there are so many very complex formulas and you would like to use it in many different cases, in many different assignments. Okay, so you can always, of course, implement it at any time you need it, but of course it will be just repeating the same works. So what you would like to do is, okay, I will create a library for general engineering students like that, in which I will implement all these functions, all these formulas, so that whenever whoever needs, they will be able to use it. If you would like to create your own module, not the one, so because the existing libraries might not be suitable for you, how can we do it? Well, first we will create a one Python file that ends with .py. So so basically it will be a regular Python file. And then, of course, it shouldn't be a keyword in a Python. Like it shouldn't be like a return for and so on. So the file name should be also not a keyword. And then in that file, you will write only function definitions. So like you can, whatever those formulas, let's say, you would like to implement, you will just write those and you will not call them, you will not run any functions. And then when we want to import it, once you save those files, you will just again use this import statement to load it. Now we will see one example for this. Let's say that we have this rectangle.py file, okay, in which we define two functions. One of them calculates the area for a given width and length, and the other one calculates the perimeter for a given width and length. So as you can see, we just define functions, definition area here and definition perimeter here, but we are not calling them. We are not running any code actually. We just define it. And here we have this circle.py, in which again we are just defining two functions, area and the perimeter for a given radius. And in that one, note that I can use existing libraries. There's no problem with that. Like I'm trying to write a library, but I'm using an existing library, which is completely fine. So for that one, I'm using math library for the circle.py. And then, now here's a very long code that is hard to read, but I will zoom in and then we'll just focus on the parts that we are interested in, okay? All right. So this is the, I just zoom in so you can see that. Note that now we are saying import circle and import rectangle. What are those? Circle and rectangle. They are my file names. Rectangle.py, circle.py. So I'm using those file names and using in my import command. Sorry. Yeah. And then, well, this code is pretty long as you can see. But the parts I will only focus on. When I zoom in, it becomes even harder to navigate. All right. Yeah. It's a very long code as you can see, but I'll just focus on the parts where we use it. So we have these import circle and rectangle codes. And then this is like a menu in which we ask user, okay, what do you want to do? And then for each choices, we do some action. And I will just focus on one of them to show it. Let's say that the user chose this area circle choice. Okay, we get an input from the user, and then we print this circle.area. So this part is what I want you to focus on. What is a circle.area? Circle is the function file name that I defined. And what is area? Area is basically, okay, I think, yeah, this zooming part made it a harder case than I thought. Let me change this part again and do it again. Yeah. So this area is the function that I defined. So in short, well, you can create your own library, and you need to be careful about its name. And in that one, you will just define functions. And then when you want to reuse them, you'll just say import and your file name, and then you can just easily use the functions that you already defined. Is there any questions so far? All right. I'm skipping this slide because we already seen menu-driven programs. Okay, so I will just skip that. And the following slides are just as actually a motivation why we might need those libraries. Let's say that we are using this turtle library, so it allows us to draw some shapes. But let's say that I would like to draw some squares with some colors. I can do it by writing this code, but I would like to write many squares like in different colors. And the turtle library does not allow it by itself. It allows many things, but it doesn't allow me to say that, okay, for a given starting point, for a given these sizes, create me a square, a rectangle, a square with this color. So it doesn't have this ability. So I need to always keep writing this. Of course, I don't want to do it. So what I can do is I can create my own library in which I will create this function, and maybe I will also want to do it for the circle. So I will write this function also, and also maybe one more. And then later on what I can do is I don't now need to, then I can use this drawing circles, squares with different colors easily. I just need to import that class and then use it. And this important part is also important. Why do we do this? You might also say, okay, what is the difference between defining a function and this? Well, the answer is, maybe I can say it in this way. Like when you have too many functions, like for an engineering student, maybe you need to write 1,000 different functions. You cannot put them in one file. It would be like you cannot put all your code in one file. That would be very hard to read, a very long document, and it will not be organized. Maybe in some cases you draw some images, in the other one you build an AI model, in another one you did some engineering calculations. So you are doing different things actually, and then you don't want to put all your code in one file. That's why actually we are doing this. Like I would like to put all my engineering formula library here, all my drawing part in another file, all my AI models, whatever it is, in another file. so that when I'm writing my code, I'll just need, okay, I just need this drawing libraries, I just need AI libraries, I just need engineering formula libraries, so that I am actually organizing my code. This is also why we have these modules. All right. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, if you don't have, then I have a question for you. So this is the last slide of this chapter. What is the primary purpose of a value returning function in Python? To execute a sequence of statements, to modify global variables, to perform calculations and return a result, to print messages in the console. Third one, yes. So basically, yeah, to perform some calculations and then returning value.